I remember sitting in the last bench of my math class and just staring at the board. Like I could see my math professor writing things, trying to explain things to me. And I was looking right at him and I was listening to him, yet I simply could not understand anything. I was like completely zoned out, just like a deer staring at headlights. I wanted to learn, I really wanted to learn and get good grades. I had ambitions, I had goals, but I simply could not focus. It's at that moment that I realized that life requires focus. In order for you to learn anything in life, you need like the ability to focus at that thing. Without focus, you can't read, you can't solve math questions. Like in the past, I used to try and read books. Like I used to read that same sentence, that same paragraph over and over again, and I still could not comprehend its meaning because I just lacked focus. So by the age of 23, I had not read a single book cover to cover. Like literally, I used to read them halfway, get bored, leave them, read that same sentence over and over again, couldn't comprehend, get bored, leave them. It's like I was missing something very, very fundamental to human beings. So now because I couldn't do anything productive in my life, I couldn't get that healthy amount of dopamine from doing productive activities, I had this big void in my life, this big emptiness, like all this free time because I just could not focus on anything productive. So naturally, I used to just fill that free time with instant gratification, scrolling, eating fast food, playing video games, watching Netflix. And I used to procrastinate all these activities that required focus because my focus was shit and these activities were really painful to perform. I used to procrastinate studying, reading, listening to podcasts. Anything productive in my life had to be procrastinated. Anything that required focus in my life just had to be procrastinated. Like even the way I used to watch movies was bizarre. Like I used to skip scenes a lot because I couldn't tolerate the regular boring scenes. I had to just jump to the fun part immediately. That is how bad my attention span was. I couldn't even watch entertainment properly. I think it's safe to say that I was in a very, very dark spot. Like I really felt guilty that I couldn't do anything productive and I felt like a total failure. My self-image was just really, really bad. And I began to accept that I wouldn't amount to much in life. Like this is my fate. I'm a defected piece. I just cannot focus. It's something that's just given to me and nothing can be done about it. But that is not how my story ends. My name is Jibreal Khan and I've been a software engineer at Fortune 500 companies like Dell Technologies and AMD. Additionally, I've been a top performing student in my bachelor's program and my master's program in one of the most competitive disciplines, that is computer engineering. I was able to do these things because I was now able to focus for 4 to 5 hours in a single day. And now this isn't just any kind of focus, this is like deep focus. I used to sit with a stopwatch and I literally used to pause the timer when I used to get up and leave. My goal is to help men eliminate procrastination and fulfill their true potential. I hope that my personal transformation lends some credibility to what I'm about to say next. This video isn't going to be about some cute clickbaity technique like Pomodoro technique or some cute 5-minute rule that will fix your procrastination. No, I do not think that these things really work in the long run because I have suffered from having a low attention span and I know how awful it is to be in that position. I've tried hundreds of things and to be honest, 99% of the things that you hear on the internet, they simply do not work. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 1% of things that actually did work and they worked miraculously. And I'm sure that if you implement these in your lives, you're going to see positive changes from day one. That being said, they're not quick fixes. They actually require you to change your lifestyle. But they're so worth it because they give you this fundamental ability, this ability to focus for long durations. So let's get right into it. This is going to sound a bit bizarre, but the reason that I had this terrible ability to focus was because of the food that I was putting in my belly. I was eating processed garbage food. Now I know some of you are thinking like, how is what you're eating connected to the way you think? And you have been told that fast food is bad, but it's bad because it just makes you fat. And that was my perspective about fast food as well, that okay, it's bad, it's just gonna add a few extra pounds to my body. Doesn't seem to be that much of an issue. I'm okay with being a few pounds overweight. But what no one tells you is that these things like chips, chocolates, fast food, McDonald's, KFC, all these things literally destroy your ability to focus. They lower your motivation levels, they kill your mood, they rob the future you of happiness, they make you very emotionally volatile. All these things have an impact on the way that you think, and no one tells you that. It's all just exterior, it's all just about putting fat and stuff. The true damage of fast food and processed garbage food is what it does to your mind and the way you think. It gives you that brain fog. You know that feeling that you're just zoned out and you feel like a zombie? that is more than likely due to the processed garbage that you're putting into your system. Now you might say, hey Jibreal, I don't eat out, I don't have products like chips, chocolates, yet I feel this way. That's because processed food is everywhere. It's invaded your house at this point. Things like pasta, seed oils, all these things are like commonly present in your house, and all these things are like highly processed. Literally anything that you see inside of a packet probably did not exist in nature. It did not grow from the earth, nor was it some animal that was roaming around. All these things were manufactured in factories with a bunch of chemical processes by some scientist in a lab coat trying to make this thing as addictive as possible. Like the next time you want to consume chips or chocolates, just read the ingredient list. It has like 10 ingredients, 20 ingredients. Like these things are unnatural. Like our ancestors did not eat these things with 10, 15 ingredients within them and a bunch of chemical processes done to them. And this is why our digestive systems, our bodies are not capable of using these things as fuel, which is why you get all these symptoms like tiredness, inflammation, crash after you eat a junk meal, and you have this brain fog and you zone out and you feel sad. All these things are symptoms of putting in garbage into your mouth that your body was simply not designed to digest and consume. Look, I know what you're thinking, that maybe this is all just conspiracy theory. How is packaged food so bad? How is it damaging me to this extent? How is the entire world eating it then? I get all of that. But it was only until I started eating whole natural food that my symptoms go away, that my attention span actually increased and my mood became better and I got my motivation back. The quickest way to see if food is responsible for your low attention span is by doing something called intermittent fasting. Now, what you actually do is you do not eat for a particular period of time and then you start consuming all your calories within a period of time. Because what happens when you do not eat is that your body begins to detoxify itself. It literally begins to consume all the dead and decaying cells within its system, and this is called autophagy. Additionally, it produces an alternative source of energy called ketones, and these are like superfood for your brain. It's like 1,000 motivational speakers just flowing through your body. And when you're in this fasted state, your concentration increases, your motivation increases, you're very emotionally stable, and you're focused and driven. So if you actually start intermittent fasting and you feel all these benefits and you realize that your attention span has increased significantly, then more than likely the issue is that you're eating processed garbage shit, and that is destroying your mind and body. The most common type of intermittent fasting is the 16-8 protocol. That means like you fast for 16 hours and you consume your meals within an 8-hour eating window. Now, I know it sounds difficult at first, that, oh shit, I'm not going to eat food for 16 hours. That's absurd. That's impossible for me to do. I get it. I get all of that. But it's actually quite easy if you think about it this way. Imagine just not eating 2 hours before going to bed and not eating 2 hours after you wake up. If you do that, you have already fasted for like 12 hours because you sleep for 8 hours a day. Now all you need to do is push that breakfast further and further away, and bam, you would hit 16 hours. Do this 16-8 protocol for like 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and I guarantee you're going to start feeling amazing. Your attention span is going to increase, your mood is going to increase, you're going to feel happy, you're going to feel energetic. The first week of me actually fasting, where I was actually eating whole natural foods in my eating window, and I was fasting for like 18 hours, my attention span just quadrupled, like literally quadrupled. And I started feeling motivated and driven. It's like life became fun and it became like a video game. Like if you ask a kid, like a really young kid, hey, what do you want to become in life? And he will give you some really unrealistic answer that I want to become a scientist, I want to become an athlete, I want to become an astronaut. That's because those kids are just filled with zest for life, that energy, that passion for life. That is what you would feel like when you're actually fasting. You feel like, yeah, I got this shit. Life is fun again. Life is a video game. And I can't believe that it took me all these years to figure this out. That the food that I was eating was messing up my attention span and destroying my mind and body. And fasting actually helps you heal and recover from all that damage that you've done previously. With fasting, you can press that factory reset button and feel the way that you did as a kid. If you're interested in watching more of these low dopamine kind of videos where I prioritize information over entertainment, then make sure that you click the subscribe button and you can see more of these videos popping up. The next thing that I noticed about the past me was that whenever I had any sort of free time, I used to just lie down on the sofa and begin to scroll and browse things. And like I used to scroll for hours and hours and I used to feel shitty after doom scrolling. But that was not the worst part. The truly horrifying realization was that the more I scrolled, the more I browsed, the shittier my attention span actually got. And the reason is that your brain has this beautiful ability to rewire itself based on the external stimulus that it receives. This is called neuroplasticity, and this is why you actually get good at things when you practice them. For example, there's this guy playing football for 100 days in a row. Eventually, he will begin to get better at football because he has provided his brain with so much stimulus related to football that his brain has rewired itself and has optimized for being better at football. So what I had been doing for years and years was basically teaching my brain to only be able to focus on something for 5 to 10 seconds before switching its focus. So I had been literally rewiring my brain to shorten its attention span by browsing through social media, looking at post after post, looking at 30-second long videos at a time. Like, I remember myself trying to sit and study for an upcoming exams, and I could only last for like 10 to 20 minutes before I felt agitated and bored and wanted to look at other things and do other things. So not only was I not able to focus on things, I got bored quite easily with almost everything that I did. 10 minutes into a task and boom, I'm already bored. I wanted to switch tasks, do something new, start a new program, start a new course. That is how easily bored I was. And that's again due to the amount of social media that I was consuming. Like, I was watching the highlight of someone's life and I was doing it for hours. I was getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit, watching something new, novel and exciting. And what this did was pretty much desensitized me to any other form of activity. After scrolling for hours, consuming novel, attention-grabbing content, you are not going to feel like doing something like reading or writing or studying math. That's because these activities just pale in comparison. They are not as fun, and you have been desensitized, so they don't even register as interesting or pleasurable. And what happens when something doesn't register as pleasurable? Well, it gets boring and you're very, very unlikely to do them. So now that it was clear to me that short form content and high dopamine stimulating content was destroying my mind, I immediately quit all these social media apps. I quit them cold turkey, no negotiations, and you will get a lot of fear of missing out, that what if she texts you, what if he texts you, you're gonna miss out on fun. Trust me, you don't miss out on anything. If someone truly wants to reach you, they would contact you through other ways. And this is just your brain coping to save that dopamine seeking mechanism. It wants to save it. You are like a junkie, like a drug addict, making a case for your drug. Remove it from your life, you're going to feel much better. Additionally, I also replaced any form of short form content with long form content. Like, now I listen to podcasts, listen to documentaries, and listen to like good movies without skipping any scenes. Those are my like primary modes of entertainment. I no longer go through TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, any of that. Short form content is poisonous for your brain. And just a couple of weeks after making all these changes, my interests, my hobbies, my passions, they all returned to me. Like, I was once again interested in how a particular formula in math came about. How do I exactly learn how to web design? How do I learn how to start my own business? How do I learn how to record YouTube videos? All these interests were a byproduct of me not doing these activities and replacing them with delayed gratification. And trust me, both these tips that I gave you, these are not placebo. These are not a figment of my imagination. I literally used to sit there with a stopwatch in my hand and experiment. Okay, I made these changes in my life. Let's see how long my attention span lasts. And what I realized that within a couple of months of making both these changes, fixing my diet and quitting all forms of instant gratification, within just months, my attention span went from 20 minutes to 4.5 hours in a single day. That is how massively these two things impact your attention span. And once I got my ability to focus back, I developed an interest in learning and I could do all these productive activities. I no longer wanted to procrastinate them. I wanted to learn. Like, learning is such a positive experience. Like, when you learn something, your brain releases dopamine. You feel good. When you tick something off your to-do list, your brain releases dopamine. You feel good. And when you have the ability to do both these things, you are not going to procrastinate. You are naturally going to want to do these productive things because they give you pleasure, they give you dopamine. But if your attention span is screwed up, you are going to procrastinate. So you need to address this underlying issue of your attention span. Procrastination is just the symptom. The root cause is your attention span. So if you're someone who's really ambitious, like you really want to fulfill your potential and get things done in life, but procrastination, a shortened attention span, and other bad habits are just pinning you down, then make sure that you click the link in the description and book a free one-on-one call with me, and I can help you with that.